Welcome to the Better Together podcast. I'm your host, Kyla, and today we have a really fun episode. But before we get into the topic, I'm going to start with my Journey to the Heart entry, which last time I started to just pick based off of what was going on in my life that I related to and based off of the episode topics that I was discussing. So I'm going to continue doing that instead of going in order by date/day of the year. So this one is called Value Your Connection to Truth. Trust what you know, not what you think you know, but what you know in your heart. We often know the truth long before we let ourselves see and believe it, long before we're ready to acknowledge it. For many reasons, fear, timing, and myriad of issues too long to list, we ignore and discount what we know in our heart. But the truth doesn't go away. What's true, what we know to be true, will nag at us and haunt us. And even if we try to run from the truth, our experiences will ultimately lead us back to it. Life may bring us many issues we want to run from, issues that are a challenge. But the real challenge we face is learning to trust ourselves and trust what we know to be true. Maybe someone once told us we couldn't be trusted. That's too bad. But what's worse is that we began to believe it and started to tell ourselves that too. Your heart can be trusted. Don't doubt it. It will inevitably connect you to what's true. Love yourself enough to trust what you know. Then stay connected to truth. I like that one because I feel like it relates to our last episode and just my life lessons that I was talking about, especially in terms of listening to your gut and what the difference between anxiety feeling and gut feeling is. And I think that this entry about being truthful to what you know is kind of like that gut feeling. When you have a gut feeling, you know deep down what you need to do, what the truth is behind that. And so I liked it. I relate to that a lot, and I'm curious if you guys relate to that and what you think of that entry. Again, please, as always, let me know if you guys are liking me reading these entries, and if not, I will stop doing it. I don't have to read it at the beginning of each thing. I just like it because it's recentering in a way, and it's a good way to reset and start the episode. So, with that said, this is going to be a really exciting episode because I have my second guest on today, my boyfriend, significant other, Zach.
Hey guys.
We're very excited, and today we're going to be talking all about the Myers-Briggs personality type and our relationship compatibility based off of what our relationship, or based off of our Myers-Briggs personality types. So I think this will be a fun one. I did my personality episode for episode 2, and it was a good way for you guys to kind of get to know me. And so I think it would be fun doing something, relationship-y and something just fun.
Yeah, super cute.
I apologize in advance if you hear our dog Kuma snoring in the background.
He's very asleep on my leg.
Yes, he's very asleep right now. So let's get started. I'm gonna just kind of share a little bit again about what my personality type is, just like a general thing about it. I won't go too deep this time. And then Zach will do the same, and then we'll get into relationship stuff. So my personality is the ENFJ, also known as the protagonist. And that one is, I'm just going to read the introduction here. All right, so my personality type is the ENFJ, also known as the protagonist. I should also preface that we took our test on 16personalities.com, which I will link below in the description if you want to take your personality test, and I would love to know what your guys' results are as well, so feel free to write in. ENFJ, the protagonist, is a personality type with the extroverted, introverted, feeling, and judging traits. These warm, forthright types love helping others, and they tend to have strong ideas and values. They back their perspective with the creative energy to achieve their goals. People with the ENFJ personality type, protagonists, feel called to serve a greater purpose in life. Thoughtful and idealistic ENFJs strive to have a positive impact on other people and the world around them. These personalities rarely shy away from an opportunity to do the right thing, even when doing so is far from easy. ENFJs are born leaders, which explains why these personalities can be found among many notable politicians, coaches, and teachers. Their passion and charisma allow them to inspire others, not just in their careers, but in every arena of their lives, including their relationships. Few things bring people with ENFJ personality types a deeper sense of joy and fulfillment than guiding friends and loved ones to grow into their best selves. Speaking up for what's right, ENFJs tend to be vocal about their values, including authenticity and altruism. When something strikes them as unjust or wrong, they speak up, but they rarely come across as brash or pushy, as their sensitivity and insight guide them to speak in ways that resonate with others. ENFJ personalities have not only an uncanny ability to pick up on people's underlying motivations and beliefs, but also a knack for understanding how others are feeling just by looking at them. At times, they may not even understand how they come to grasp another person's mind and heart so quickly. These flashes of insight can make ENFJs incredibly persuasive and inspiring communicators. The personality type's secret weapon is their purity of intent. Generally speaking, ENFJs are motivated by a sincere wish to do the right thing rather than a desire to manipulate or have power over other people. Even when they disagree with someone, they search for common ground. The result is that people with the ENFJ personality type can communicate with an eloquence and sensitivity that they are nearly impossible to ignore, particularly when they speak about matters that are close to their hearts. Getting involved. ENFJ personalities are genuine, caring people who talk the talk and walk the walk. Nothing makes them happier than motivating others to do what's right. When ENFJs care about someone, they want to help solve that person's problem, sometimes at any cost. The good news is that many people are grateful for this assistance and advice. After all, there's a reason that these personalities have a reputation for helping others improve their lives. But getting involved in other people's problems isn't always a recipe for success. ENFJs tend to have a clear vision of what people can or should do in order to better themselves, but not everyone is ready to make those changes. If they push too hard, their loved ones may feel resentful or unfairly judged. And while this personality type is known for being insightful, even the wisest ENFJs may sometimes misread a situation or unwittingly give bad advice. Leading the way. People with this personality type are devoted altruists, ready to face slings and arrows in order to stand up for the people and ideas that they believe in. This strength of conviction bolsters an ENFJ's ability to guide others to work together in service of the greater good. But their greatest gift might actually be leading by example in their day-to-day lives. ENFJs reveal how seemingly ordinary situations can be handled with compassion, dedication, and care. For these personalities, even the smallest daily choices and actions, from how they spend their weekend to what they say to a coworker who is struggling, can become an opportunity to lead the way to a brighter future. Do you agree with any of this?
I agree with most of it. Obviously, it's not like 100% accurate. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you go to bat for people time and time again, and you do tend to make other people's problems your own because you care about people very deeply, especially like your friends and just relationships in general.
Yeah.
But man, like there was something in the middle there that just didn't resonate with it, and I kind of like I'm blanking on what it was.
Oh, I want to look back and see what it was. What do you remember what it had to do with?
I think it had to do with like giving advice, and it's like giving advice that isn't necessarily good. I think your advice is always really solid, except what I do admit is very accurate is that you give unsolicited advice a
Yes.
lot to
Yep.
people, and it's like you're doing your utmost to try to get them to a point that you want them to be
Mm-hmm.
at. And even like I have to say, like even me, and like when I falter or I'm not feeling good, you're just like, oh well, do this, but do this, you know.
Yep.
And it's your heart is in it, you know what I mean, but not necessarily like what someone might want to hear immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely,
They might not be ready to hear it. I know I'm not always ready to hear it.
yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I talk about that in the last, or in my personality episode, how I give unsolicited advice when I think, especially like if someone isn't as motivated about something, like I will insert myself and be like, these are the steps you need to take in order to feel more motivated to do the thing you want to get done, and it should be this easy, and it's not always that easy, and it's not always necessary for me to be pushing someone that hard if they're not ready to take that step.
Sure. I just
So
also think that like not everybody has the same motivators as you. You know what I mean?
totally.
So it's like you're like, this is what gets me motivated. This is definitely what's gonna work for you. Pull yourself up from your bootstraps and let's do it. It's
Exactly.
you're very very gung ho. I will say though that you are very convincing and you are very persistent in asking like when you want something like or you want to do something with somebody, like you're very like, let's do it. Come on, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And I
And it's
think,
not in like an annoying way. It's more so just like, come on.
yeah, not everybody's the same way, and I think that I tend to like fit everybody in the same category as me, and they should like feel and do the same as me, and that's not the reality of situations. And I also think that I am a highly anxious person, which also tends to like push me to do certain things and be more motivated for my goal, like in my goals and stuff,
Absolutely.
because anxiety in the back of my head, my anxiety's telling me like, if you don't do this, like you're not going to be successful, you're going to fail, like all this
Oh,
stuff.
100%. I wish my anxiety worked like your anxiety. Your anxiety is motivating. My anxiety is very unmotivating.
Yes, you have a lot of negative self-talk in your
Yeah,
head.
100%.
Yeah. All right, let's hear your personality and the introduction of your personality type.
So I got the mediator, and again, I took this back in 2022, like tail end 2022, and I also took like a supplementary test. I think that it's still extremely accurate.
Yeah, he literally, like, so he took this a couple years ago, and then this morning before we started recording, he wanted to take it again to make sure that his personality type was still the same. I said it was going to be
It
the
wasn't the
same.
full test, but it was like a supplementary test to reevaluate and like kind of re-bolster what you got. You know, and see it
Exactly.
like if that it would have led me to the full test if it wasn't like if it was completely different. But
And
yeah,
he got the same
I got
thing.
the same thing. So I got the mediator, the INFPT, um, and this is the introduction. So although they may seem quiet or unassuming, people with the INFP personality type, mediators, have vibrant, passionate inner lives. Creative and imaginative, they happily lose themselves in daydreams, inventing all sorts of stories and conversations in their minds. INFPs are known for their sensitivity. These personalities can have profound emotional responses to music, art, nature, and the people around them. They are known to be extremely sentimental and nostalgic, often holding on to special keepsakes and memorabilia that brighten their days and fill their heart with joy. Idealistic and empathetic, people with the INFP personality type long for deep, soulful relationships, and they feel called to help others. Due to the fast-paced and competitive nature of our society, they may sometimes feel lonely or invisible, adrift in a world that doesn't seem to appreciate the traits that make them unique. Yet it is precisely because INFPs brim with such rich sensitivity and profound creativity that they possess the unique potential to connect deeply and initiate positive change. So this section is called the gift of empathy. INFP personalities share a sincere curiosity about the depths of human nature. Introspective to the core, they are exquisitely attuned to their thoughts and feelings, but they yearn to understand the people around them as well. INFPs are compassionate and non-judgmental, always willing to hear another person's story. When someone opens up to them or turns to them for comfort, they feel honored to listen and be of help. Empathy is among the INFP's personality type's greatest gifts, but at times it could be a liability. The troubles of the world weigh heavily on their shoulders, and these personalities can be vulnerable to internalizing other people's negative moods or mindsets. Unless they learn to set boundaries, INFPs may feel overwhelmed by just how many wrongs there are that need to be set right. Speaking their truth. Few things make INFP personalities more uneasy than pretending to be someone they aren't. With their sensitivity and their commitment to authenticity, people with this personality type tend to crave opportunities for creative self expression. It comes as no surprise, then, that many famous INFPs are poets, writers, actors, and artists. They can't help but muse about the meaning and purpose of life, dreaming up all sorts of stories, ideas, and possibilities along the way. Through these imaginative landscapes, these soulful personalities can explore their own inner nature as well as their place in the world. While this is a beautiful trait, INFPs sometimes show a tendency to daydream and fantasize rather than take action. At times, these personalities may intensely deliberate with themselves in their heads, wrestling with their opinions until the last possible moment. To avoid feeling frustrated, unfulfilled, or incapable, INFPs need to make sure that they take decisive steps to turn their dreams and ideas into reality. In search of a calling. People with this personality type tend to feel directionless or stuck until they connect with a sense of purpose for their life. For many, this purpose has something to do with uplifting others, and while they want to help anyone and everyone, INFP personalities need to focus their energy and efforts, otherwise, they can end up exhausted. Fortunately, like flowers in spring, INFPs' creativity and idealism can bloom even after the darkest of seasons. Although they know the world will never be perfect, they still care about making it better however they can. This quiet belief in doing the right thing may explain why INFP personalities so often inspire compassion, kindness, and beauty everywhere they go.
What do you think? How do you relate to that?
I mean, like, it just when you made, like, you had me take this test originally, and it was super, super accurate, like, eerily so. And I do agree with a lot of the content. I am very empathetic. I am empathetic with both people as well as stories and characters. I am definitely the kind of person that will, like, tear up during, like, a sad movie.
Yeah.
Or get really, really into a really well-constructed character. Or just try to put myself in other people's shoes in general, whether it be, like, fictional or not. Like, you've seen me talk to random people on the street. It could be anybody.
We literally had an experience on the other, like, a couple nights ago.
Yeah. I'm always willing to hear out people's story because I don't want to be rude and, you know, maybe somebody just needs somebody to talk to. I've been there and I understand that. I'm definitely not the kind of person to, like, go up to a random stranger and, like, spill my beans. But if somebody is that kind of person, then I'm the one that's, like, willing to listen to what they have to say.
Yeah, you're very
apropos to the other night.
Yes, yeah. The other night, what we're referring to is we were out and about, and this woman, like, randomly came up to us and was just sharing with us how she was struggling because her roommate was making her move out and whatever, all this stuff about her living situation and how New York isn't the same as it used to be and how people aren't as nice and willing to, like, help. And I was saying to Zach when we were leaving, I was like, that was kind of weird that lady just, like, randomly came up to us. And you were more like, well, you know, she was going through it. She was struggling, and I was happy to be there to listen if that's what she needed. And I was more like, that was kind of weird.
Yeah, Kyla looked immediately uncomfortable when she walked out of the store and she saw me talking with this lady. I feel like that's just a normal thing. Even when I was a kid, I was always the guy that would sit on the train next to the one guy that everybody thought was crazy or was speaking to himself. I mean, honestly, like, I did just want a seat, and I didn't care about who I sat next to.
Mm-hmm.
But if the person decided to, which more often than not did want to talk to somebody, I would end up in, like, a little conversation for my whole entire train ride. You know what I mean? I would take out a headphone. I wouldn't ignore the person. some people just need to be heard, and I've always been that kind of person.
And that's very sweet of you. I am not that type. I mean, I'm not a mean person. Like, I'm willing to hear you talk, but I don't want someone, this sounds mean, but I don't want someone random coming up to me and, like, talking my ear off, I guess. But maybe that's where we're different. Maybe you're a little nicer in that way than I am.
I mean, like, I feel like there's definitely been situations where I've done that, like, out of, like, oh, well, if I don't talk to this person, then this could be a problem. You know, I'm not, like, it's not exclusive, you know what I mean? It's like, if I did ignore this person, then this could probably lead to a situation that, like, I don't want to be in.
Yeah, and I also feel like that's a very New York thing, too.
But, I mean, that's not always the case. More often than not, it's like, if somebody wants to be heard and wants to have a conversation with me, I'm totally open to do that.
Yeah, and I want to say, too, if someone starts randomly talking to me, I have been in that situation a few times, and I'm not just going to... I'm also, like, too uncomfortable to be like, I have to go. Like, I don't want to have this conversation. Like, I will hear you out. I'm just not going to, like... It's not ideally what I want to be doing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I'm not going to, like, shut the person up and, like, leave and be rude either.
What else did we touch on?
Something that I felt like I see in you is the thing about, like, not having things totally, like, figured out in terms of what you want to do. That was interesting. I thought.
I mean, I've always had a problem with that my entire life. I always envied people that kind of had that, like, direct path that they know what they want to do. Oh, I want to be a cardiologist when I grow up. And I always be like, oh, that's cool. I mean, I don't know what that is. You know, I'm definitely a jack of all trades. I have bounced around and worked in, like, every single industry that there is. And I don't know. It's like, I am a little directionless in that regard.
I think you just haven't found exactly what you feel super passionate about, but I think that that's something that a lot of people deal with, and I think there's such a big expectation in society to have things figured out. I mean, you are expected to, once you graduate high school, it's expected of you to, most times than not, go to college and pick a career that you want to major in and pursue that all the way. But a lot of times, like, when you're graduating high school, you're 17, 18 years old. How do you know if that's really what you want to do for the rest of your life? And I think a lot of people struggle with that later after they've picked their careers and realize, you know, maybe this isn't something that I want to do for the rest of my life. I know that's something that I've struggled with trying to navigate and figure out as well. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up in the intro of your personality?
Okay, so I will say that the one thing that I feel was a little inaccurate in terms of, like, just me in general is that while I am very attuned to my own thoughts, as it said, and feelings, I am very, very sympathetic and empathetic towards other people, and I'm maybe a little bit too concerned with other people's emotions sometimes.
I think that's part of your overthinking.
Yeah. But, I mean, I could tell when something is uncomfortable or when I think that as I get older, the one thing that I really, like, have honed in on is that if I don't want to be in a particular situation, I remove myself, you know? And that's kind of just how I wasn't always like that. I always was like, okay, cool, I'm here with certain people, so let me just chill and just tough it out. I'm very much not like that. I'm very much about, like, protecting my peace.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
And I think that's a good thing. I think that's mature as you get older that you feel that way.
While I dislike creating, like, a different personality, you know, just being another person or doing something like acting a certain way that isn't my authentic self, I feel like I've done that, like, a lot, you know? I feel like retail jobs way back when, like, caused me to do that. And working, like, when I was a kid, I grew up working in restaurants, being a waiter, working at retail stores, and I was always really nervous, and despite that, you know, I had to do that. But my mom used to, like, just told me, she was just like, just create a personality in your head that's the extroverted, like, salesman or waiter that needs to get the job done, and you could stop being that person. And I do feel like it's very easy for me to, like, flip-flop between, like, my regular self who's just like, okay, cool, I don't really want to be here right now.
Yeah.
To, like, Yeah, what's up? How you doing? Yep. Everything's good.
That sales voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
My
smile.
tone goes up. Like I sound
Totally.
a lot more excited about everything.
And I think like that's something because obviously like I know you on a deeper level than someone else who, just met you or, whatever, an acquaintance or whoever it is. And I kind of see you put that on too in certain situations as well where like I can tell you don't want to be there, but what's interesting about it is you're such a good actor when you put on that persona because people around you can't tell that you're actually a
Well, because
very
you're the one that knows me.
well, yeah, obviously I'm saying because like obviously I know you very well, but like it's interesting like nobody else would be able to tell that you're actually a very introverted person and you like to like keep your circle very small and you don't you're not necessarily someone who likes to like go out and socialize and be super social and extroverted like that.
I feel you. I mean, I have no idea how I do it to this day.
Yeah, you're very good at it.
Whenever
It's
you tell
trained.
me,
It's a,
it's really weird to hear that whenever we actually do go out and like I'm in a situation because what like more times than not when we go out to a place and I don't
parties
really
and
know
stuff,
anybody,
friends, yeah.
then I'm like the person that's like walking the entire time like with you, like man, I'm nervous. I don't really feel this weird. Like I feel weird, and the minute I get there, like I'm like talking to everybody.
Yeah, you
And
do. It's almost like you dissociate from your
that's
like
scary to think
anxious
about.
feelings and you turn on this persona. And I think sometimes it's good to like that saying fake it till you make it. That's a good thing sometimes, but I think in this situation maybe it's not like the best thing because it is almost like you're dissociating from and obviously I use these terms. Look, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a professional. Like I don't know.
Yeah, disassociating is a scary term.
Yeah, that is
I'm
a
definitely
scary
not
term.
disassociating.
So obviously take that with a grain of salt. Like it might not actually be
I'm there. I'm present.
Yeah,
I'm like
you're still
I'm still Zach.
yeah. But I do feel like you try to ignore like those deep down
I mean, I
feelings.
do. Like I genuinely do think that I ignore the anxiety that was like being pent up before me being in a situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like like even when I work freelance jobs, you know, even when I work freelance jobs, I'm talking to everybody on the crew. I'm being nice. I'm saying hi, what's going on, having conversations with people I've never met before. When in my regular everyday life, I wouldn't do that. I
Right.
just wouldn't do that. I absolutely like hate small talk.
Yeah.
Like I like having deep, meaningful conversations. I'm not really like a person that's be like, so how's the weather today? But
Wait, it's so funny that you're actually saying that because literally in my last episode, I talk about how I am the type of person that hates surface level relationships and I like to get super deep with people and I'm also not like the hey how you doing like how's the weather you know what I mean like I like to get deeper with people too
Right.
so that's definitely something we have in common.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that you do like having deeper conversations with everybody, and you're very good at it, at getting to that point. And, like, I could have deep conversations with people. I just feel like more often than not, like, I am having, like, you know, I feel like the start of every relationship, when you meet somebody, like, for the first time, you are having small talk.
Well, yeah,
Unless you
everything
find,
starts like
unless
that.
you touch on a topic that's, like, you're like, actually resonates with you, which can happen sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, for sure.
But I will say that, like, I definitely turn on the small talk, like, sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in situations when you got to do it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into, I think to lead into like the relationship stuff, let's get into our percentages.
On traits. I was excited for this one, actually.
Yeah. All right, so mine for energy, I am 60% extroverted.
Mind you, this is a sliding scale, so in the middle is, like, 0, and then it goes either left extroverted and then right introverted, so she'd be on the left side
Yes.
extroverted.
More extroverted, 60%. So that would be 40% introverted. So I'm like almost half, but a little bit more on the extroverted side.
Yeah, which is completely the opposite of mine because I got 83% introverted, which makes sense for me.
Yes, definitely.
I definitely like chilling.
Yes, yeah. You're more. I get my energy from talking to people, like socializing, stuff like that, being around people, whereas you get your energy more from like being alone.
Yeah,
Would you
100%. I
say?
mean,
Yeah.
I think that like going out and being super social is sometimes very exhausting.
Yes. All right. So my next one, which is mind, is I'm 67% intuitive, instead of, which is on the left side, instead of observant.
Yeah, I got 81% intuitive.
Okay. We're more alike in
And
that.
just to preface that one, it just says that you are likely intuitive. You're likely very imaginative and open-minded, focusing on hidden meanings and distant possibilities.
So we dream a lot.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I'd see that.
Me too.
It
I
sucks. Neither of us are observant.
Is that a bad thing?
I don't know. It seems like one of us should be observant.
So I am, yeah, you're right. So I am 51% feeling.
I'm 61% feeling, so, we're pretty close in that regard.
Okay. What does that say about it?
You likely value emotional expression and sensitivity, prioritizing empathy, social harmony, and cooperation.
Okay. I would say
Okay.
that's very accurate for us both.
Yeah, so we get along so well.
Yeah, I'm so curious about this next one and like what it means.
Tactics.
The tactics. I'm 96% judging.
Okay, like now I want to see that because what is judging? Because now this is like where we're polar opposites apparently.
Wait,
Her tactics say in judging,
you're likely organized, decisive, and thorough, valuing structure and planning over spontaneity. How do you say that?
spontaneity.
Spontaneity. And that is 100% accurate.
Yeah, she is the planner of all planners. Everything needs to be written out. There's an agenda. If we walk out the house, then it's like, we need to hit this place, and this place. And if we don't hit this place, then this is a backup.
Yeah, and I get anxious. I think that's part of my anxiety too. Like if it's not laid out in a plan, and it's almost like a control thing actually. Like it's like I have to control every aspect of it to feel comfortable.
100%. Which is fine. I mean, like I am used to it. That's why I let you plan everything because I am the opposite.
Yeah.
I got 82% prospecting, which is on the complete other side of this scale. 96% on judging though is crazy. You're like 4% shy of 100.
It's so
I got
accurate
82
though.
So I mean, whatever.
You got 82. Wait,
I
say
got
that again?
82 on prospecting. Prospecting says you're likely very adaptable, easygoing, and flexible, prioritizing spontaneity over stability, which is 100% true. I hate making plans. I am very with a go with the flow kind of guy.
Yes.
I don't really care what's going on. And in our relationship, it really works out for me because I don't ever have to plan a thing.
Yes, but I also think this is like one of our biggest fights that we get in.
Yeah.
Because like I will want, like let's say we wake up on a Saturday morning, I'm like, we should do this, and this, like this would be a fun plan, whatever. And you're more like, let's just see where the day takes us. I want to drink my coffee, sit on the couch, chill for a little bit, and then we'll see what happens. And I'm like, well,
we need to get out of the
we
house
need to do this
1.
now. Yeah, we always so.
I've been a lot better about that.
You
recent
have,
times.
you have.
When we first started dating, we used to get into a lot of fights about that.
Yeah.
Because I would be very lazy, kind of trudging around the house, like getting the shower pretty late, taking like an hour-long shower, and then we're out of the door by like 2-3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And that would get her so mad.
Yep. All right. I'm getting mad thinking about it. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so I am 67% assertive, which is identity. So
awesome though.
I'm likely self-assured, even-tempered, and resistant to stress, refusing to worry too much.
I couldn't, man.
I don't know if I agree with that because I worry a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like, it's kind of talking about when it's more self-assurance and even temperament. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do think that you are a little worrywart, but I am too, and I guess that's like the one part that's not really accurate. But you are very self-assured, and you are very even-tempered when it comes to like a lot of situations. I think that stress tends to get to you, and but it doesn't stop you.
Yeah.
You know, like what you said in your profile, it's you're very like, you get things done no matter what. And like my profile kind of said the opposite. It's just like, oh yeah, like those are pitfalls for you.
Okay, what is yours then?
So I got 69% turbulent.
Wow. So
which sucks to hear.
We're very opposite on
tactics and identity.
Yeah.
So it says you're likely self-conscious, sensitive to stress, success-driven, perfectionist, and eager to improve. That is definitely the truth. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
I'm very self-conscious. I constantly overthink every single situation. Definitely sensitive to stress. I get very, very, very angry inside of my head about like small little things and it's really hard for me to drop those little things, unless like I have like something actively that I need to do. At that point. If I have stew time, then like I will stew in that for quite a while.
Yeah, I think that's part of your overthinking. Like you get super in your head about certain things, and instead of having positive self-talk, you have very negative self-talk.
Yeah. Right, and that also, I believe, like, also kind of ties into, like, the perfectionist, eager to improve kind of thing. Where it's like, if I do actually, when I am doing something, I am very driven to do that thing perfectly. So there's no kinds of faults, and I do tend to take a little longer on tasks.
Yeah.
Because of it.
Yeah.
Because I am very eager to improve and be better at the same thing. But yeah.
Yeah. All right, so now that we've read our percentages, we are going to get into the relationship portion of this. And I think that before we get into the ins and outs of the relationship, we should, maybe it would be nice to give like a little backstory of how we met, how long we've been together, all of that.
Sure.
Okay, so we have been together, it will be 6 years in December, which is crazy. You're definitely my longest relationship.
You've surpassed my longest relationship for years now.
And the way we met was I moved to New York in 2018, and my friend and I were going to Chelsea Market, and Zach worked at a store in Chelsea Market that we happened to go in, and you were our sales guy.
Yeah.
So I thought Zach was really cute, and he had
This was like the end of my shift.
Yes.
So I wanted to go home.
Yeah, but he was doing his salesman smile, whatever. And I like was very drawn in by your smile. I think that's what first drew me into you. I thought you were really a very good-looking, attractive man.
Oh, thank you.
And I was like, you know what? I'm in New York now. I am in my Sex and the City era. Like, there's nothing to lose. I am going to ask this guy out. And
she totally wimped out.
I did wimp out.
She totally wimped out. She bought a and just to tell you, it was like the fanciest like kind of like head shop that you can get. It's closed now, but it was like really, really upscale home goods, like key trays and super nice like, like just tabletop things, tchotchkes, and to kind of mask the fact that it sold like a bunch of
weed products,
paraphernalia, like volcanoes, vaporizers, pipes, and like, but classy pipes.
Yeah.
Was a huge pothead back then, and not anymore. So I got to talk about that stuff all the time. But Kyla came in and bought a little pipe, and I thought she was adorable, but I really wanted to get the fuck out of there. And it was probably like the last hour of my shift that day, and it was pretty obvious that she thought I was cute.
Well, what made it obvious is that I was in the store, I bought my thing, and then
Walked out
I walked
immediately.
out and I sat in front of the store. There was like a
No, she
seating.
walked away, and
Well,
then
I
like
walked away and
20 minutes later, I had to be posted up in front of the store,
Yeah, and
just standing there because there was no customers, and the girl that just walked in with her friend was sitting at a table directly parallel in front of.
And my thought process was like, I'm going to write a note. I'm going to write a note and I'm going to bring it back in there and pretend I forgot to get something and just
so happy
slide
you
the
didn't
note
write
to
a
him.
note.
Just slide the note to him. It took me like a half hour. I like sat in front of his
I
store
didn't-
for like 30 minutes and then I came back in and
Where was this note?
No, I had a note written. I'm ready, but I was like, no, that's weird. So I came back in and I just pretended to like forget to buy something. And then what makes this story even cuter is that before I had the chance to ask for your number, you asked for mine and you asked to hang out.
Well, because she came in and she wanted to return the product that she bought and also get some stuff, but she was obviously standing directly in front of this store for a good like 20 minutes before she came back in. So I was just like, okay, like I'm pretty dumb when it comes to, does this girl actually like me? Should I actually initiate like and ask this girl out? Kyla made it extremely obvious and made it very easy for me, so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Because I probably wouldn't have asked her out otherwise.
Yes, I had a big crush on him, and the rest is history. And now we are almost 6 years later. So let's get into our relationship portion. My thoughts were we talk about each of our individual, whatever our personality types, whatever it says in our relationship portions, and then we go into our personality types together in a relationship. So I can start. In relationships, whether romantic, familial, or platonic, you shine as a deeply committed and intuitive partner. Your ability to understand and cater to others' emotional needs makes you a valued friend and confidant. You have a gift for creating deep, meaningful connections and fostering environments where others feel safe to be their authentic selves. However, your desire to maintain harmony and your tendency to be overly accommodating can sometimes lead you to neglect your own needs. Learning to express your own desires and maintain your individuality within relationships is crucial for your emotional health. Remember, the most fulfilling relationships are those where both parties feel equally valued and understood. Your journey in relationships involves finding the balance between your natural giving nature and the necessity of receiving in return. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. I don't think that much capitalizes on our relationship. I feel like that's like very.
We're gonna go into like.
Sure. I mean, I'm just saying like my like first off opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that you're very like that with like friendships and most people. You are very outgoing and you want to like be friends and you want to expand your social circle, and you do give like 110% to like every single relationship that you have. I think at this point like we've like settled, so I don't think that like I mean I at least hope that you're not trying to accommodate me at all times, you know what I mean? I don't think you are.
I mean, no, I'm not trying to accommodate you in that way, but I do want to make you like I in the forefront of my mind, like I want to make you happy. So if that means accommodating, like
I feel that.
Yes.
I feel that. I mean, like I feel like in the beginning, at least, like you were very much a person that would go out a lot.
Yeah.
And I think like slowly we just become both homebodies. So maybe like that was the only part maybe that you got like you were a little bit accommodating about, and you.
Yeah, I think that there was a time in our relationship where I would never go out, and then I had to find that balance again because.
COVID.
Well, yeah, that's a big thing in our relationship. Like, we moved in together, and then right after we moved in...
killed sociability for both of us.
Yeah, well, for sure. Right after we moved in together, COVID hit, and lockdown happened, and everything was shut down. So, yeah, for a while, I was very, like, kind of antisocial after that, and it was hard to kind of regain, like, sort of in a way who I was again, and, like, a big...
And the world stopped.
Yeah, the world stopped, of course, but I think... For me, I am a very outgoing person, and being around people gives me energy. Having, a friend circle around me gives me energy. I don't need a ton of friends, but I need quality friends. And part of that like, I like to go out, I like to go to parties, I like to be around my friends and stuff like that. So I think being in a long-term relationship, I've had to, like, kind of balance, too much of that and not enough honing in on our relationship, or
Okay.
vice versa, honing in so much on our relationship that I lose friends out of it. So I think there's, like, a balance, and I think I've hit that sweet spot where now I'm,
Yeah, I agree with that.
have my friend circle around me, and I give enough time to it, and I balance it enough where I give
Do you
enough
feel
time
like
to
you
our
express
relationship.
your own desires in a relationship and like maintain your individuality in a relationship?
Yeah, I think I do. I think,
There was a thought there. Like you
yeah.
kind of had to think
Do
about
you
it.
do you disagree?
No, 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 no. I'm just asking. Like I'm
No.
kind of poking and prodding you a little
Yeah,
bit.
no. I think that that's something I've had to, like, learn to navigate, and I think anybody has to learn to navigate that in a long-term relationship. I think that it's very easy to lose yourself and lose who you are as an individual person when you date someone for a long time. And I think that there are times definitely where I haven't had that individuality, and I think that I'm at a place now where I definitely have that. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I mean, I completely disagree. I think I was always been like kind of individual in a relationship.
Yeah,
I don't feel
yeah.
like I've ever like of course, you give and I do things that like are out of my comfort zone. I don't feel like I've ever like not been authentic with you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I haven't been, like,
Well, that's what I'm
authentic with
saying. It's
you.
like, being yourself. That's kind of what it was saying. It was that like your tendency to be overly accommodating and learning to express your own desires and maintain your individuality. I don't ever think that. I don't think I've ever had that problem.
Yeah,
I've always expressed myself exactly to you because you're the only person that I feel comfortable doing that with. I
yeah.
wouldn't even do that with like my closest friends.
Yeah, I think maybe at the beginning of our relationship I didn't have that as much.
Feel that.
But I think
I'm
now,
really
I
happy
mean,
that to hear that it's the opposite.
yeah, what?
That you're not accommodating and like you're being your individual self around me
Yeah,
at all times.
I think I am more so now and, like, throughout the years. But I think at the beginning maybe I wasn't as much.
It's good to hear. I mean, it'd be kind of scary after like
Yeah,
six
if I
years.
wasn't being
You're
myself.
just like, yeah, actually, like I've been acting like I'm not
But
actually like this.
no, but I also think that, like, you can still be yourself but also lose your individuality in a relationship. Like, I think that when you're with someone so much and you spend all your time with them, it can be hard to navigate who you were before you were with that person. And I think that that's where it's important to find a balance of, like, what are the things you like to do outside of your relationship? What are the things that you value outside of that relationship? And that's where I think that maybe I didn't have that as much in the beginning. And now, like, I very much have my individuality, and I know, you know, the things I like to do outside of our relationship. I know what I value outside of our relationship, and still am able to, like, we're still able to come together as a unit, but we're still also very different people and have different needs and are able to fulfill those needs outside of each other.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So my relationships. In relationships, you seek deep, meaningful connections that honor your need for authenticity and personal growth. Your empathy and intuitive understanding of others make you a compassionate friend and partner, capable of forming bonds that go beyond surface level interactions. You give a gift for creating safe spaces where others feel understood and accepted. However, your idealistic nature can sometimes lead to challenges in relationships. You may struggle with conflict or become disappointed when others don't live up to your high expectations. Learning to communicate your needs effectively, set healthy boundaries, and accept others and yourself as imperfect beings is crucial for building long-lasting, fulfilling relationships. While you value close connections, you also need time alone to recharge and reconnect with yourself. Yeah, I mean that sounds pretty on point.
Pretty accurate.
I do again very empathetic and very intuitive, like maybe even like like overly so. I always am somebody that always just, hey, are you okay? You sure you're okay?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Which I know could be annoying to you because sometimes I do need that extra assurance because I'm like, I don't know, something seems off.
Yeah, yeah.
It's over
Well, I
overthinking.
also, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think it's also, like, a lot of overthinking on your part.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that while I always think that I was my authentic self, I think communicating my needs and setting boundaries was something that was, like, really hard for me in our relationship for a long time. Um, getting to a point where I could, like, communicate to you without the fear of, like, being judged instead of it coming out in ways that, like, were a little bit more combative or like coming out of frustration because like you didn't pick up on it. And I think that that's like sometimes my big thing in a relationship is like I assume that you're as intuitive as I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily the case. I do think I'm like super sensitive, and small things bother me. So I feel like when it's like the kind of like the reverse, and it's like I'm feeling some sort of way, like I kind of like I subconsciously assume that you're gonna pick up on that, and when you don't, maybe sometimes I'm just like, oh, she didn't notice that I was kind of off.
Yeah, where I'm more like, tell me how you're feeling, communicate to me. I can't read your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now we're going to get into ENFJs and INFPs as in a relationship together. And just to preface, I'm reading off an article I found. I did a little bit of research. I didn't read this full article because I wanted it to be in the moment when we did this, but 16 personalities didn't have like specific personality types to compare in a relationship together, which is why I had to find an article off the site. So this is called ENFJs and INFPs, quite often a match made in heaven. All right. So when ENFJs and INFPs get together, they frequently create relationships that are both harmonious and long-lasting. As intuitive feelers, NF, they're equally dedicated to creating meaningful connections that enrich both parties. They tend to be on the same wavelength, and the bonds they forge often transcend the need for explanation or interpretation. At the clear difference in their personalities, extrovert versus introvert, judging versus perceiving, and add depth and texture to the relationship. Each will see the other as possessing important traits that they would like to develop in themselves. These types will enjoy the challenge of seeing things from the other's perspective, a trait that's motivated by their mutual interest in self-development. When things get serious, ENFJs and INFPs see the romantic relationship as vitally important projects that should not be abandoned at the first sign of trouble. That is, I think, very accurate in how we communicate too. You know what I mean? Do you agree or disagree?
Well, when things get serious, like we're important projects. I don't think of you as a project.
No, I don't think of you as a project. I'm not saying yeah. No, I'm not saying that, but I just think that like we are not going to at the first sign of trouble like run from each other or end the relationship. Like we try to work through a lot of our stuff through communication and having like hard conversations, and we've always done that from even the earliest on issues we've faced together.
I especially agree with like the challenge that we're like the challenge of seeing things from the other's perspective, and it's like we're both mutually interested in self-development, but because we have opposite kind of views on how to go about certain things, I'm very envious of how goal driven you are, and like how you're very structured in everything that you do.
Yeah, and I think that you're more sensitive than I am, and you, I think, are more empathetic in certain ways too. So I wish I was more like that. The goal of each is to fall in love for life. When conflicts or difficulties arise, as they will in any relationship, their instinct is to work hard to repair the breach.
For sure, true.
Yeah. sharing when it matters. To some extent, all relationships are built around and inspired by shared interests, but ENFJs and INFPs don't need to have a long list of hobbies, habits, or beliefs in common to make their relationship blossom and thrive. I think that's interesting. Do you?
Yeah, because we don't share hobbies for shit.
No, we have a lot of different hobbies. Like, should we give some examples?
Sure.
Zach loves video games
And movies.
And I do love movies. I like
not
movies.
Not the same movies. I feel like movies and shows or like media for you for the most part is like an escape and not like I'm gonna enjoy this story.
That's true.
It's very much something like I'm gonna watch something in the background so I can like kind of zone out.
Yeah, I like to use TV and movies as a distraction from real life in a lot of ways, and you like to get super in it. But I will say, after dating each other for as many years as we've been dating, I've started to get more into like the story of it.
Yeah.
But with the video game thing, like, I am not like a video game person.
You just don't understand the mechanics, which is totally fine. Like, it's fucking. I've been playing video games since I was a little kid. You know what I mean?
I don't get into it as much as you. Biking too, yeah. Your type of biking. Biking in New York versus mountain biking. I like mountain biking.
Right, there ain't no mountains around here, so.
Exactly. Okay. For these generous souls, a few mutual interests or perspectives are enough to construct and maintain a strong and healthy love connection. Being highly empathetic and compassionate, neither type will resent the other because they have outside interests or varying viewpoints.
Yeah, pretty true.
Yeah. ENFJs and INFPs will relish the commonalities and treasures the time they spend together sharing them. Those mutual interests will form the cornerstone of the relationship, but they won't be used as an excuse to limit either party's capacity to explore and develop their individuality. Do you want to read the next part?
Sure. Organizing the perfect relationship. ENFJs are well known for their perfectionism and preferences for order and organization. They like to have a plan, and they will stick to it as closely as they can. INFPs, on the other hand, tend to be more mercurial in their organizational habits. They are not consistently messy or disorganized, and will sometimes have bursts of inspiration that leave them determined to reorder their lives. But in many instances, they will allow other interests to take priority over cleaning or reorganizing in many instances. But this difference is not usually a cause for strife. INFPs generally prefer to be clean and organized, and their relationships with ENFJs often help them develop more consistent habits. Conversely, ENFJs must be careful not to let their interest in cleanliness and orderliness take over their lives, as it may on occasion. Their INFP partner's more laid-back attitude can help them gain and keep more balanced perspective, for which they will remain eternally grateful. Now, that is 100% where I don't agree about the the ENFJs versus INFPs, because I am a lot more cleanly.
That is 100%. So not true.
Kyla, you will throw everything down and not pick it up for like days on end.
You do that. I don't do that.
No, I do not. No, I do not. I am constantly slightly cleaning this, slightly cleaning that.
I disagree, folks. I disagree.
I completely... I don't know. The fact that this article stated that you're helping me be more organized, I don't agree with that one.
All right, let's agree to disagree on that one.
You're definitely the messy one. Still love you, though.
I love you too, baby. All right, communicating with love. In any relationship between an ENFJ and an INFP, the former will inevitably carry the conversation most of the time, not just with respect to the number of words spoken, but also by setting the agenda or determining the direction of the discussion. Their outgoing nature and advanced social skills tend to make them eager conversationalists. While ENFJs frequently take the lead in social interactions, they are not interested in talking exclusively or even much at all about themselves. In fact, ENFJs are intensely curious about the lives and feelings of others. of other people. I agree with that. Their social openness is motivated by an agenda, and that is to create dynamic conversations that are informative, interesting, and mutually engaging. They delight in learning details about the lives of others, even more than they enjoy sharing the details of their own lives. So they do an excellent job of drawing out introverts, including their special INFP. Like all introverts, INFPs have a strong desire to talk about their experiences, passions, feelings, disappointments, hopes, and dreams. When they form loving relationships with ENFJs, they will have plenty of opportunities to do so. During discussions that evolve organically from the productive seeds that ENFJs enthusiastically plant. Because they are so curious, ENFJs are wonderful listeners who make a concerted effort to turn their conversations into true dialogues. This is highly beneficial and rewarding for the sometimes reclusive INFPs who want desperately to be acknowledged and understood, but they keep to themselves unless others show a genuine, heartfelt interest. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like I'm very to myself, and there are times where I'm probably just not as vocal as I want to be. You know what I mean? But you can definitely draw out a conversation out of me.
Yeah, I think we have deep, meaningful conversations, and I don't think I'm always the one. I don't agree that I'm always the one that's like pulling those conversations. I think maybe in like a social setting where there's other people involved, maybe I'm like the one leading the conversation more.
Yeah,
but
that's where I agreed. It's
yeah.
like, if you want to take lead and it's like, okay, cool, I'm totally cool with just hanging back and letting you speak to whoever.
Yeah.
And it's like, awesome.
Exactly.
That's work for me socially.
Yes, and I think that when it's one-on-one, it's different.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're pretty, like, equal when it comes to drawing out conversations. I really like to hear what you have to say and, like, how's your day? How's everything going? Like, please tell me, like, more about any gossip that's going on or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you definitely pull that stuff out of me where I'm like, after a long day, I'm drained. I don't want to have a conversation, like, stuff like that. I do very much agree that I am the type of person that is very curious about other people, and I think that goes hand in hand with stuff I've said in the previous episodes about not liking surface level relationships and liking to go deeper. And even with newer people, I like to have deeper conversations because that leads to, you know, a deeper relationship in the future, whether it's a friendship or us being, you know, in a intimate relationship, things like that. So basically, fuck any surface level relationships. Okay, do you want to read the next one?
Dealing with others. The interpersonal dynamic that develops between ENFJs and INFPs serves them well inside the relationship, and also social situations that involve other people. INFPs can avoid feeling overwhelmed, as they sometimes do when they're in social situations alone, since their ENFJ's partners are more than happy to act as the couple's primary spokesperson. The INFP can then pick and choose their spots, adding their input whenever they like. If the INFP eventually becomes uncomfortable or feels a bit overstimulated and would like to move on to a quieter environment, their empathetic ENFJ partner will usually sense their discomfort and use their social skills to gracefully exit the conversation.
Do you agree or disagree?
I mean, I agree. Like, I do think that most of the time, if we're meeting somebody, they're probably somebody that you know. So, yeah, you're taking over the conversation. I can't really think of the last time that we've met somebody together. Like, somebody new that's like, this person is new to you, this person's new to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? In that ball court, in that, like, game, I think that it could really just go either way. You know what I mean? It's like, you could take the front, like, you could take the back seat or the front seat, and I could take the front seat or the back seat. You know?
Yeah,
like,
I think that you could
like somebody random on the street, you know what I mean? I feel like more, like, it could go either way.
And I feel like it's because you can put that extroverted layer on, if you will.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
What I don't agree with, and don't take offense to this,
yes,
is I don't think that you sense that discomfort if I'm like, oh man, like, I really, I don't want to leave. I'm usually the
Yeah.
one to kind of like spin out, and I'm like physically like turning my body like because
Yeah.
I will spin out of a situation or a conversation if I like don't feel like it's engaging. You know what I mean? Or if it's like you're having a conversation with somebody and it's like I'm not adding anything. I'm just standing there. Like I'm one to be like, hey, I'm gonna go get a drink or I'm gonna go over there.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I don't always sense. And I think it's like I don't always sense when you're ready to leave a situation because I think partially it's because I know that you're innately uncomfortable to begin with and that you're putting on a persona to be more social. So I don't know when it's like, I don't know when to be like, all right, we need to leave because I know from the beginning of that conversation, you don't even want to be there in the first place.
I don't think that's always true. That's not really fair. I mean, like I do. Sometimes I just like genuinely want to be there. You know what I mean? But I do wish that like sometimes you would just be like, hey, well, shit. Like I noticed that he's feeling uncomfortable. Let me like end this conversation. We could go somewhere else together.
No, I totally get that, but do you see where I'm coming from when I'm like kind of automatically assume that you're not, you know, wanting to have that conversation in the first place?
Sure. But like it goes both ways. If you know that
Sure.
I don't want to be there in the first place, you know what I mean. Doesn't mean like let me talk to this person for like the next like 45 minutes
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that.
and be like, okay, cool. He's feeling uncomfortable. Let me go with this guy
Yeah. No,
instead of like watching me walk
so
away.
so my question is what is the balance between that?
I don't know. Like if you see me walk away, you know what I mean, and I don't want to be, and I'm obviously like giving you like that sign that's like, hey, like I've removed myself from the situation. You know what I mean? I feel like more often than not, you will finish that conversation before you go and seek me out. You know what I mean? You won't try to be like, oh wow, he just walked away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like let me end this conversation and let me go like fucking let me go like hang out with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He feels uncomfortable. It's like you'll have your full conversation and then meet up with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I feel that. All right. Self-development as a lifestyle. One area where oh wait, shit. Hold on, I just lost my place. Okay. One area where ENFJs and INFPs complement each other extraordinarily well is through their shared interest in self improvement. ENFJs have a powerful need to reach for excellence. They never want to settle for mediocrity, and they are excited by possibilities to help each other achieve their dreams or develop their talents as well. INFPs are also deeply interested in self development too and feel a responsibility to do something important with their lives. They like to use their creativity as a tool for personal growth and boundary expansion, and if they can help their loved ones follow a similar path, it will bring them great satisfaction. The creativity of the INFP combined with the pure energy and ambition of the ENFJ can produce some fascinating and exciting results. Rather than simply taking classes, reading self help books, or signing up for online courses, INFPs and ENFJs will often collaborate to create their own special self improvement projects, which may include innovative twists on old ideas. As parents, for example, INFPs and ENFJs are intensely focused on helping their children reach their potential, which adds even more positive energy to their household. Kids who grow up with INFP and ENFJ parents will never feel neglected since their moms and dads are always involved in their lives and eager to support them as they strive to achieve their dreams. INFPs and ENFJs are big on positive affirmation and reinforcement as well and that approach tends to create bonds with their children that are strong, durable, and long lasting. I think we can relate to that with our fur babies.
Yeah.
We're
I mean,
very, very involved
I
animal
mean,
parents.
yeah, of course, because they're adorable. I mean, I guess you can't really branch that out to like human children.
Sure.
Creating an enduring chemistry. In their ongoing quest for personal growth in the psychological, intellectual, emotional, creative, and spiritual spheres, ENFJs and INFPs are like alchemists of the heart and mind. They seek the right chemical formula to create relationships that are congenial, yet multi layered and complex. Fused by shared perspectives and priorities, and energized by fundamental differences that keep both parties learning and growing. When ENFJs and INFPs get together, The complex mixture of extroversion, introversion, and intuition, feeling, judging, and perceiving they create can work powerful magic. From this intriguing combination, the partners that emerge can be memorable, uplifting, and enduring. If you are either of these personality types, your ideal match for you could be the other. That is, if you're looking for someone who will compliment you, yet challenge you, and who will support you and encourage you to do your best, no matter how grand your dreams, or for how long you've postponed chasing after them. Yeah, I mean, like, I think that we do challenge each other a lot. I mean, like, we want the best for one another, and whenever we're going through a personal problem, we definitely share.
Yeah.
And we're
for sure.
giving each other our unbiased advice about how we should deal with it. I agree with that.
Yeah, I think we're always, at the end of the day, trying to better each other, too.
And I value your opinion so much about everything. If I'm having a problem and I feel like I'm what do I do in this situation? I always take to heart what you say.
Yeah, and I agree in the reverse, too. Like, I very much value your opinion. I mean, just an example of that is, you listening to a lot of my podcast episodes before I release them and telling me what your opinion on them is. And
which I got to say, I'm so proud of you for doing this. I'm
Thanks.
Extremely nervous.
I know, it's scary. I talk about this in, I think it was episode 5, I talk about how scary, or maybe it was episode 6, I talk about how scary it is to actually, the reality of posting these and, like, putting our voices out there in this manner. It is scary. Sure. Like, we're putting ourselves on the internet for people to judge, but I also think it's really cool to be doing something like this, and if it doesn't turn into anything, at least we have it to listen to for the future,
Yeah, at least we got really good conversation out of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all in all, I feel like our relationship is, like, we're pretty compatible.
Nah. 6 years.
You heard it first, all. This is the end of our relationship.
Never that. Jesus Christ.
I'm just kidding. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening today. This was a really fun episode to do.
It was a very long episode. I didn't realize we were talking for 2 hours.
I know. This is a long episode. But it was fun doing it. I'm definitely going to have you on again. Thank you so much for listening. I'd love to know what your guys' personality type is. If you're in a relationship, what is your partner's personality type? What is your compatibility as partners?
Or if you just need something to do, take these tests. Just have a conversation about it.
Yeah, these tests are super fun to take, especially with a partner. So I encourage you guys to do this at home and let me know your results. And I will link it below in the description, like I said before. Also, a couple updates too. I kind of have figured out what I want to do visually with this podcast. I think that I'm going to start filming myself in my living room. I'm going to set up my living room really nice and cute for, the visual of this podcast. And so that's exciting. You'll see a video coming soon with this. And again, thank you so much for listening. Oh, another update. I am using a new microphone. Let me know how it sounds. What do you guys think of this? Zach is using my old microphone. So let me know if you notice a difference in mics or whatever. But again, thank you so much for listening. Remember to rate, like, comment below. It helps tremendously. Follow me on my personal Instagram, which is Kyla_Milberger. Follow me on the podcast Instagram, which is the_bettertogether_podcast. And send in your questions and comments at my email, which is thebettertogetherpod@gmail.com. And I will see you next Sunday. Bye.